I'm Dave McKinley. Welcome to our special look back at some of the stories that made news locally in 2025. We'll also update you on where things stand now with these watershed events from the past year as we enter 2026. The year was but 5 days old when a cold January morning was marred by heat, flames, destruction, and a remarkable sense of loss.
We begin with some breaking news that we've been following all morning. For the second time in 6 months, a legendary bar on Buffalo's Allen Street has gone up in flames.
Oh no!
At this moment, Buffalo fire crews are still fighting the fire at Mulligan's Brick Bar. Our photographer was at the scene just after 4 a.m. this morning as fire crews started attacking the flames. You can see crews here battling the flames, the backside of the bar.
We're hoping that there will be a thorough evaluation to see if a part of the building can be saved.
After a day of back and forth, the city of Buffalo just deciding tonight that the Mulligan's Brick Bar behind me here will be coming down tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
There was a group of people standing watching as the bricks from the back of the building started falling.
Between the pink being gone and now this, it's just a huge empty gaping hole in Allentown.
So many people throughout the years have memories of going to Mulligan's Brick Bar.
It's a sad end to something that's been there for such a long time.
Now, while this building that has stood here for over 120 years will no longer be on Allen Street, the owner has committed to pass on some artifacts to the Buffalo History Museum so that part of this chapter of Allentown can still be remembered.
The fire was eventually ruled accidental, and by August, the father and son development team of William and Kyle Roach had agreed to purchase the adjacent lots where both the Brick Bar and the old Pink, which burned in an arson fire in 2024, once stood. They're still working on plans for a multi-use building there. A wildcat strike is a walkout undertaken by unionized workers without union leadership's authorization. For certain government workers, it can also be illegal. It's a term you don't hear very often, but we heard a lot of it in these parts starting in February.
Corrections officers who say they are fed up with working conditions at New York State prisons hit the picket lines today at Elmira and Collins Correctional in Gowanda.
And we are hearing that tomorrow there will be other job actions at other prisons across the state, similar to what we saw play out here and in Elmira today. Some men and women took a risk by being out here today because under the Taylor laws, they're not allowed to go on strike. And those who are here and supposed to be working face losing 2 days' pay for every day they're not in. But they tell us off camera, because they could get fired for doing an interview, that they've reached a breaking point after several years of being forced to do double and sometimes triple shifts to make up for a shortfall of about 2,000 in their ranks. And they are incensed after learning the Corrections Commissioner recently told superintendents running the state prisons to find ways to keep them going on 70% staff levels.
I came out to support them. I've been seeing, following the news, seeing what's going on, how they're working, how long they're working, how many, there was like 2,000 assaults, I think it was last year alone.
Heart goes out to them, goes out to their families, their loved ones. They miss holidays. They're giving up a lot to take care of people.
The leadership of docs, they need to take a breath and to get a handle on what's going on at these facilities.
But those gathered here today say Ryan would serve them better by working to repeal aspects of the HALT Act that restricts the way they can discipline inmates, and they say it's made them more emboldened to act up and cause trouble and is getting more officers hurt. While supportive of their members, the union reminded us today that this strike occurred without the union's authorization and again, technically in defiance of the law.
Well, this afternoon, Governor Kathy Hochul is preparing to deploy New York National Guard troops in to protect the safety of corrections officers and inmates. This after more pickets and protests.
Wendy is one of now 24 prisons across the state where this wildcat strike is underway. Again, correctional officers say that their working conditions have become untenable. They're often made to work 16, sometimes 24-hour days behind the walls, this and other prisons across the state. In one of the largest strikes, corrections officers from Attica were joined by those from nearby Wyoming Correctional. COs risk their jobs by doing on-camera interviews, but the state can't fire retired officers, many of whom came out today to show support for those still working behind the walls.
What's happening, this definitely has to be addressed.
Back at Wendy, we heard more of the same. Meanwhile, the state says it's having a hard time attracting COs. The COs say that's no wonder.
No, because nobody wants it.
Beyond the grueling hours, they insist that reforms enacted under the HALT Act, which limits how inmates can be disciplined, has emboldened dangerous individuals to act up, leading to record numbers of assaults on inmates and staff alike.
The inmates do not get penalized for doing anything to officers who became punching bags.
This is Channel 2 News Tonight.
The wildcat strike by corrections officers at New York State prisons has now come to an end after 3 weeks.
The Corrections Commissioner says more than 5,000 prison staff members have now returned to work, including more than 1,000 that went back today.
The governor and I are committing to honor the March 6th Memorandum of Understanding, including the HALT Committee, the 90-day HALT program suspension, the 12-hour shifts that will be maintained during this emergency as we continue our transition.
In court today, the state attorney general's office announced it will no longer seek to arrest prison guards who went on strike in violation of the Taylor law, then defied a judge's order to return and then refused to come back even after the strike was settled. Channel 2's Dave McKinley has the latest from the state Supreme Court.
Shortly after saying they would no longer seek to arrest those prison guards that they're now in the process of firing, an assistant attorney general stood up in court and remarked, nonetheless, quoting now, there still has to be consequences for them. And so, after the state terminates them, the AG will seek to recover $3 million from approximately 8,000 guards who walked off their jobs over safety concerns for every day of the 3-week-long wildcat strike. Not stopping there, Governor Hochul today announced plans to blackball those guards and prevent them from getting any other employment with New York State in the future.
And there are consequences when people break the law. And that means you're not working in our state workforce ever.
That is the heavy hand of Hochul, and it should not be allowed. It has to be criticized. A court needs to set it aside.
Now, you may recall we had reported that the settlement of the strike was contingent on 85% of the prison guards returning to work. Today it was confirmed that only 77% had done so by yesterday's deadline, prompting Judge Dennis Ward to use an old adage when it comes to government employees, saying, I suppose that's close enough for government work. The state eventually had to back off on its attempt to ban those who struck from seeking jobs not only with the state but also local governments within the state. And though the strike ended over 9 months ago, thousands of National Guard troops remain on duty in New York prisons, which remain woefully understaffed, and court cases involving fired prison guards have yet to be fully resolved. At around the time that the strike was cooling last March, a controversy brought to light by Two on Your Side Investigates was just heating up. That story coming up after this. Welcome back to our special look back at some major local news stories of the past year. Two on Your Side is the station that holds people in power accountable. Investigative stories take a large amount of legwork, fact-checking, and producing before they ever air. And once they do, often lead us down new paths to follow. One in particular from 2025 fit the bill on all accounts and touched off a firestorm of controversy beginning last March.
Right now at 6.
You know, you're talking about a car accident. I really don't have a comment on a car accident.
Tonight, a Two on Your Side investigation reveals a suspicious crash involving an Erie County Sheriff's official, costing taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars.
We begin tonight with a Two on Your Side investigation, months in the making.
The investigation is uncovering a suspicious late-night crash by a top official at the Erie County Sheriff's Office and questions about how that crash was handled by police.
Two on Your Side investigates Charlie Specht and Sean Mickey tell us many of the details of the incident have remained secret until now.
Hit and run PDO 456 Prospect, getting multiple calls in
It eroded my trust, not just in, Erie County, Sheriff's Department, also in the Buffalo Police Department.
They should be held accountable.
They will.
As chief of the Erie County Sheriff's Narcotics and Intelligence Unit, DJ Granville is front and center when police agencies announce major drug busts in Buffalo. But Granville's actions nearly a year ago have clouded his future and that of another member of his politically connected family. They also raise fundamental questions about whether police are given special treatment when they're alleged to have broken the law. Shortly before midnight on April 11th, 2024, Granville was off duty driving his Dodge Ram pickup owned by Erie County. According to a Buffalo police report obtained by Two on Your Side, Granville was less than a mile from his west side home when he struck two vehicles on Jersey Street near the intersection of Prospect Avenue. His vehicle then turned south on Prospect, heading in the wrong direction on a one-way street. The pickup struck a third vehicle, causing that car to hit a fourth vehicle. Granville then continued a block down Prospect before his car struck two more vehicles facing northbound. He passed Hudson Street, striking a seventh vehicle before coming to a stop. Buffalo police would not provide us with the full police report for the incident, but Two on Your Side obtained it from other sources. And it shows the crash was originally classified as a hit and run.
Yeah, my car was underneath this tree.
Mary Wyant's car was parked in front of her Jersey Street apartment when Granville's pickup sideswiped it. A total of 6 drivers have filed legal claims with Erie County seeking reimbursement for repairs. That's expected to cost county taxpayers nearly $60,000. Granville faced no charges related to drunk driving, and nothing indicates he was required to undergo a breathalyzer or field sobriety test. Court records obtained by Two on Your Side show Granville was instead ticketed for going the wrong way down a one-way street, later reduced to jaywalking and a $150 fine.
If it were a normal citizen who had gone through it and caused this much damage and hit this many cars, that a different action would have been taken.
Any questions, I'd be happy to answer anyone.
Sheriff, how do you respond to these very serious allegations that have been made against your chief of narcotics, Granville?
You're talking about a car accident. I really don't have a comment on a car accident.
What would you say to people that look at this drug bust and say, this is great, you're taking drugs off of the street, you're holding people accountable, but when one of your own chiefs allegedly drives drunk, smashes 7 cars, costs taxpayers $60,000 in damages, that person is not being held accountable?
It's allegedly, until I hear otherwise, which I haven't. It's a car accident, and I don't have a comment on that. Yes.
Can we ask the chief if he was driving drunk that night?
No, you may not.
Granville, who made $214,000 last year, comes from a politically connected family, and he has donated thousands to local political campaigns. Granville's wife, Maria Esquilin Granville, is a member of the Erie County Democratic Committee and has hosted political fundraisers for Democratic Chairman Jeremy Zellner, former Mayor Brown, and acting Mayor Scanlon. His wife's sister is Lucia Esquilin, seen here in 2023 when she became a Buffalo Police lieutenant. Esquilin responded to Granville's car crash and signed off in multiple places at the bottom of the police report. A source with knowledge of the incident said internal investigators with the Buffalo Police are now probing whether Esquilin helped cover up the actions of her brother-in-law last April.
Tonight, our Two on Your Side team has yet another update on a string of crashes involving a top Erie County Sheriff's Department official.
Well, neither of the two police agencies involved in the cover-up of a suspicious series of hit-and-run crashes by embattled Sheriff's Chief DJ Granville has turned over documents to the Erie County DA's office for criminal prosecution. But even if they had, DA Mike Kane's office may not be able to dig into this because of a potential conflict of interest his office has with Granville's family, which has deep political ties. Kane's office confirmed to us that Kristen Granville, who is DJ Granville's sister-in-law and who is married to DJ Granville's brother, works for the Erie County DA's office as a legal secretary. Her husband, William Granville, is also on the county payroll as a sheriff's detective. Kane's spokesperson says, quote, potential conflicts of interest are always evaluated to ensure that a thorough and impartial investigation is conducted. She also says Kane did not learn about this until Tuesday, when our story about the crashes first aired. These are allegations that involve two of the biggest police agencies in this region, and we've talked with someone whose car was damaged who said this really damaged their trust in the law enforcement process. Are you concerned about that as DA, and is there anything that you'd like to say about this incident?
I don't comment on, potential pending investigations, Charlie.
Meanwhile, the county legislature today passed a resolution to launch an investigation into the matter and elicit sworn testimony from several county officials about what they knew and when they knew it. Dave McKinley continues our team coverage. Dave.
Well, Charlie, Democrats and Republicans alike expressed chagrin over having learned of the incident involving Granville almost a year ago, only through recent television news reports which uncovered it. So now lawmakers will use subpoena powers to question Sheriff Garcia and DJ Granville, as well as the county comptroller, the county attorney, and county executive Mark Poloncarz, whose office ultimately approved $60,000 in settlements with those who had their cars damaged. On that note, lawmakers, while they were notified in November of the settlements, they're not subject to their approval, so they say they were never told what they were for, nor that they stem from an incident involving a high-ranking member of the sheriff's department driving a county-owned vehicle.
Simply put, this incident doesn't pass the smell check, and it's our job to take a further look into it.
Channel 2 News starts now with breaking news.
Just into our newsroom, 2 on Your Side Investigates has obtained now this video. Take a look, appearing to show the hit-and-run crash involving Erie County Sheriff's Chief of Narcotics, DJ Granville.
11 days ago, Sheriff John Garcia told 2 on Your Side that he was in the dark about allegations that Narcotics Chief DJ Granville received special treatment when he damaged 8 vehicles last April. But 2 on Your Side has now obtained evidence that contradicts Garcia's statements. That evidence suggests that the sheriff's office was not only aware of a cover-up, but may have played a key role. Mary Wyant is one of 7 people whose cars were damaged by Granville that night. She says once she learned Granville was a top sheriff's official, she went to the sheriff's website and filed a complaint about his conduct.
Someone did call me back, saying, we want to address your concerns.
An assistant to Chief Timothy Carney, who heads the Police Services Division for the sheriff's office, responded with this email, dated May 1st. The email suggests the sheriff's office knew about the allegations as early as last May, which is contrary to what Garcia has said.
I mean, obviously we were not there that evening. We were told that certain things happened, and why would we think otherwise?
Then there are these photos, which show the heavily damaged vehicle being stored in a rural area. Sources identified this property as the sheriff's gun range in Alden. One of the sources pointed out the school bus in the background of the photos. The school bus can also be seen in this aerial photo from Google Maps. The range where the heavily damaged vehicle appears to have been stored is 3 miles from the sheriff's garage on Walden Avenue. That's where public records show the vehicle was picked up in November after it was auctioned off. The scandal involving Daniel DJ Granville, the sheriff's narcotics chief, has the potential to be politically damaging to multiple elected leaders because of Granville's deep political ties. But one Buffalo lawmaker is not afraid to speak out. David Rivera, who represents the Lower West Side where Granville wrecked his county pickup and damaged 7 parked cars, says the public deserves answers not only from the Buffalo Police Commissioner, but also from Erie County Sheriff John Garcia. Garcia says his office did not look into the matter and has also downplayed the crashes, calling them a car accident.
Did you do any investigation? Did you look into it? Did you talk to anybody?
Rivera, a former police officer, says the public's trust of law enforcement is at stake and that people must be confident that police are not corrupt.
Well, tonight there are new developments and new insight from a person who tells 2 on Your Side they witnessed the aftermath of a hit and run involving a top Erie County official.
The witness account comes 1 week after 5 Buffalo police officers were placed on leave for their handling of the case against DJ Granville.
We heard like a big bang.
Hinda Mohammed remembers the night Erie County Sheriff's Chief DJ Granville tore through her West Side neighborhood a year ago, striking or damaging 8 vehicles in his county-owned pickup.
We come outside and we see the whole side of the front car, like the side of it is all like totaled.
Mohammed says she and her neighbors heard the crashes, ran outside, and saw Granville trying to leave the scene.
So we're running after him when we get to him, and he comes out the car and he's like, don't worry, I'll pay for everything.
Mohammed says Granville appeared drunk and reeked of alcohol.
You see the beer bottles at the bottom of his car. Like, he was absolutely drunk. He was wasted. He wasn't blacked out. I don't know how he was even able to. Honestly, as far as he made it from over there, I'm surprised he made it that far.
We spoke with other witnesses on Prospect Avenue who gave similar accounts. Many say they have never been contacted by Buffalo police. Mohammed identified Lieutenant Lucia Esquilin, Granville's sister-in-law, as the one who placed Granville in a police car. though he was never given a sobriety test or arrested.
No handcuffs or anything, just sat him in the car after everything that he did.
The only known consequence for Granville was a $150 fine for jaywalking, and last week 2 more traffic tickets for leaving the scene. As for Esquilin and the other 4 officers who are under investigation, Mohammed says it's, quote, mind-boggling how much the people that are sworn to protect us are abusing their power.
And she shouldn't be doing any favors, so she took an oath to protect everyone and treat everyone fairly, not just, you pick and choose who you want to favoritize because it's in your family.
So we are going to hear from Buffalo Police Commissioner Alfonso Wright. Tomorrow he will appear before the Common Council. This will be the first time that he does speak publicly about this matter.
Live from 2 on your side. This is Channel 2 News at 6.
It's so basic in terms of investigation.
Buffalo Common Council members now questioning whether that basic investigative work was done quickly and fairly in a very high-profile hit and run we've been focused on. For the first time, the Buffalo Police Department speaking publicly about that crash involving the Erie County Sheriff's Chief, DJ Granville. 2 on your side, investigator Charlie Specht, he's right there in the studio with the tough questions that the police commissioner Wright faced today. Charlie?
Well, this was the first time we've heard from Buffalo Police Commissioner Al Wright about the DJ Granville cover-up scandal involving Buffalo Police and the Erie County Sheriff. But the public came away with few answers. Buffalo Police Commissioner Alfonso Wright tried to assure members of the Common Council that his department is getting to the bottom of the controversy involving Sheriff's Chief DJ Granville and his police lieutenant's sister-in-law, Lucia Esquilin, who is one of 5 Buffalo police officers under investigation.
This sprawling investigation has left no stone unturned in its pursuit of the truth.
But Wednesday, 2 on your side tracked down a key witness, Hinda Mohammed, who says she witnessed Granville visibly drunk after the crashes.
You see the beer bottles at the bottom of his car. Like, he was absolutely drunk. He was wasted.
If people were expecting answers, they didn't get many here at Buffalo City Hall. That's because the police commissioner read from a prepared statement and refused to answer any questions from lawmakers about the Granville controversy.
I can assure the public and this honorable body that the appropriate disciplinary measures will be taken.
But he refused to provide basic details about the case.
In this particular case, how many officers were at the scene?
Again, I really don't want to answer those questions with this going
I assume there were 5 people put on administrative leave, so at least 5, I believe, unless there were more.
I do want to know, like he said, what was done on that night.
I realize that you were not the commissioner at the time, but were you the deputy commissioner?
That's correct.
Great. So were you not aware of this major incident as deputy commissioner?
I was not.
Nobody informed you of anything?
I found out in January 2025.
So you were alerted at the same time that the rest of us were?
I was alerted at the same time.
Commissioner said that their investigation has been very thorough, yet we found many people at the scene of an accident that, as of the last week, still had not been contacted by the police. Does that concern you?
Oh, absolutely. We asked that they go back and talk to the people who had perhaps video, who had ring cameras, who were eyewitnesses, but they were never approached.
Well, breaking news off the top here at 5:30. We have learned a top Erie County official involved in a hit and run more than 1 year ago has been placed on administrative leave.
We just heard from Erie County Sheriff John Garcia directly, and he says his controversial narco chief DJ Granville is now on administrative leave and has been since April 14th.
Well, 2 on your side investigates is appealing a decision by the Erie County Sheriff's Office to deny our Freedom of Information law request. It's concerning the handling of narcotics chief DJ Granville.
In the wake of the scandal involving narcotics chief DJ Granville, the Erie County Sheriff's Office has come under scrutiny for how it disciplines deputies who are found to have committed misconduct.
When we tried to obtain a spreadsheet last week of cases investigated by the Sheriff's Professional Standards Division, a chief in the Sheriff's Office said he would not produce them.
I'm not trying to withhold any information. The problem is this, is going back when you're doing another job and having to compile all this information, it's very tasking.
In his letter to the Attorney General, Councilmember Rivera says that it's in the public's best interest that somebody else investigate this crash.
This is Channel 2 News at 6.
Erie County Sheriff's Narcotics Chief DJ Granville leaving a Buffalo courtroom today after Granville faced a judge and took a plea for crashing his vehicle into several parked cars, then fleeing the scene more than a year ago.
In the eyes of the Niagara County District Attorney, the 2 charges against Granville were the very best he could do, given the lack of cooperation he had from some police officers.
I've never had a case where police officers who were currently employed were told they're not under investigation and still refuse to cooperate. I haven't had that experience.
No audio was allowed in the courtroom Friday afternoon, where Erie County Sheriff's Office Narcotics Chief DJ Granville pleaded guilty to 2 charges stemming from his April 2024 crash with a county-owned vehicle, reckless driving, and leaving the scene of an accident. He'll need to pay a $550 fine and perform 50 hours of community service. Granville had no words on his way out of the courtroom Friday, despite questions from the 2 On Your Side investigative team that broke the story.
DJ, do you want to apologize to the taxpayers of Erie County?
Were you drinking that night, DJ?
What makes you think you should keep your badge? If somebody else had done this, do you think they would have gotten this outcome?
Are you above the law, DJ?
Niagara County DA Brian Seaman, who took over the case after the Erie County DA recused himself, explained the challenges he faced when he began his investigation.
We were at, of course, a grave disadvantage because the investigation didn't start until 8 months or so after the incident.
He outlined some of the things he did not have in this case.
Any type of chemical test, so there was no breath test, there was no blood analysis for Mr. Granville's blood that night.
There was also no field sobriety test or statements from Granville from the night of the incident. And no body cam video either. Buffalo Police body cam video is only stored for 6 months at a time.
The last thing that we did not have in this investigation was the cooperation of the police officers who responded that night. None of the Buffalo police officers who were called to respond that night cooperated with my office. None of them would give a supporting deposition when I asked them to do so.
Something that's not sitting well with the witness of the crash.
You guys want us to trust you guys and actually go to you guys when there's crimes, and you guys want us to cooperate with you guys, and we can't, because look what you guys do, protect your own. Like, shame on you and shame on everyone else that didn't want to do anything else to help this whole situation.
The Erie County Sheriff put out a lengthy statement which said in part that he does not feel Granville should, quote, have his career defined by one night, adding everybody at the Erie County Sheriff's Office, especially those in command positions, needs to be held responsible for their actions. While he should have taken responsibility sooner, DJ has done so today.
What would you say to taxpayers who say this essentially proves the point that certain people with badges are above the law, unlike the average citizen?
I guess what I would say is that I did my very best, and the Buffalo Police Department Internal Affairs Division did their best to make sure the outcome would not be that the outcome would be that there would be some accountability and there would be a day when we could say that we did hold this individual accountable, even though he's a police officer.
Now, there's still an ongoing investigation that focuses on the conduct of Buffalo police officers on the night of the crash. There's also an internal affairs investigation within Buffalo Police Department, and the Councilman Rivera has called for the state attorney general to investigate their conduct as well.
But because of how state law is written, the AG often needs approval from the governor to investigate criminal matters. We asked Governor Kathy Hochul whether she will refer this case to the AG. Did the allegations with Buffalo Police not cooperating with the DA, does that worry you that that could damage trust in police?
Well, there are people who will always trust the police and those who never will.
Council members were again critical of the police commissioner for not having time for the upcoming police oversight committee, calling for more transparency from the police department over the DJ Granville investigation. Some council members seem to believe that games are being played regarding how to get on the commissioner's calendar. Commissioner Wright was nowhere to be found Tuesday. Councilman Rivera and Councilman Wyatt are seemingly fed up with excuses and want more from the police commissioner in terms of information about the Granville incident.
It seems as though there's a cover-up. And, there's been a veil of silence from BPD.
None of the officers that responded the night of the Granville crash cooperated with the investigation by the Niagara County DA. However, according to the administration, they're mandated to cooperate with the BPD's internal affairs investigation.
5 Democratic lawmakers on Tuesday sent this letter to Governor Kathy Hochul. asking her to give Attorney General Tish James the green light to open an independent probe into one of the biggest police corruption cases in recent history.
And I think it's eroded trust in law enforcement, and I think we need to get to the bottom of it.
Yes, we can hold meetings, but we're not investigators.
Lawmakers say they're frustrated that more than 6 months after the crashes were brought to light by a Two on Your Side investigation, they still have few answers to give to the public. Sheriff John Garcia pushed back, calling the lawmakers' news conference, quote, political theater. The governor, for now, is not taking action.
We needed an investigation, not just of the events of that night, but of the attempts to cover it up.
Now, this all comes as Granville is set to return to work next Monday after a 30-day suspension for his guilty plea to reckless driving and leaving the scene of an accident.
The sheriff said that Granville had no prior history of misconduct before he smashed into 7 vehicles. Our investigative team is trying to fact-check that, but has received some resistance from the Erie County DA.
DA Mike Kane possesses personnel files for police officers whose credibility might be questioned on the witness stand. We requested misconduct allegations, disciplinary actions, internal investigations, as well as reports and/or documentation of the outcomes of those complaints for Granville. Kane's office denied the request, stating that it possesses the records, quote, to comply with our statutory discovery obligations, and that we should ask the sheriff's office for the records. Paul Wolf, an attorney who founded the New York Coalition for Open Government, says the law is clear.
My understanding of the Freedom of Information law is what you were asking for should have been provided to you. And unfortunately, they've put forth several reasons which I think are completely bogus as far as denying your request.
Two on Your Side appealed the ruling, writing to the DA that this case is a matter of great public concern, as it deals with allegations of police corruption and special treatment those in law enforcement receive from the system in which they operate. The DA's office again denied our request, citing an Erie County Legislature investigation that never began and an Attorney General investigation which has not been opened and may never be.
The case law is pretty clear here that police disciplinary records are subject to being released to the public. This has been litigated over and over. So, the excuses that they're giving you are nothing but excuses.
Wolf says the denial will further erode public confidence in law enforcement.
I think everything about this case has damaged public trust. The way we had relatives involved, the way we have police officials involved, and now, unfortunately, we have the district attorney's office withholding documents.
Tonight, there is more reaction to share after Erie County Sheriff John Garcia faced tough questions from county lawmakers about his controversial narcotics chief.
Garcia faced tough questions Thursday from county legislators Taisha St. Jean Tard, John Bargnesi, and Gene Vinyl. Vinyl pressed Garcia on why he didn't ask to see the body camera footage from the Buffalo police officers who responded to the scene of Granville's crashes. Under Sheriff Bill Cooley also acknowledged that he failed to ask whether his narco chief seemed to be impaired by alcohol or drugs.
I didn't ask him. He's the chief of our narcotics unit, okay?
Cooley is part of Garcia's inner circle of South Buffalo advisors who previously worked on the Buffalo police force. He defended the politically connected Granville, whose family has jobs at the sheriff's office, the Buffalo police, the sewer authority, and the DA's office.
And he went away and got himself the help he needed. Upon his return, legislator, he did a fantastic job.
The Buffalo police officers at the scene did not give Granville sobriety tests or arrest him, and they refused to cooperate with prosecutors.
A lot of this stuff has been based on media insinuations. No one's ever provided any evidence to us, okay, that there was any indicia of alcohol use or that he was drunk.
But that discounts the account of Hinda Mohammed, who spoke to us in April.
You see the beer bottles at the bottom of his car. Like, he was absolutely drunk.
Garcia also suggested Granville was somehow the victim of bias.
Are we saying that because he's a South Buffalo Irish cop, he had to be drunk?
Charlie Speck, Channel 2 News.
As of the end of the year, Granville was back on the job. His sister-in-law with the Buffalo Police, after being investigated by Internal Affairs, was demoted in rank. Sheriff Garcia was re-elected in November without opposition. Coming up, a tale of two massive public works projects, one which met several milestones in progress in the past year, and another for which the brakes were put on when our special look back at 2025 continues after this. Welcome back. In 2025, we have the tale of two massive public works projects. Locally, the most expensive ever undertaken in Western New York, where the price tag now exceeds $2 billion, saw considerable progress and met some major milestones in the past year.
This is Channel 2 News at 6.
This is maybe the stimulus that we've needed.
Tonight, we are inching closer now to the completion of the new Bills Stadium. This morning, the team held an official topping out ceremony to showcase the progress that's been made on the more than $2 billion project.
Our incredible photographers, Jackson and Ben, captured that last piece of steel being put in place earlier this morning from our drone, and it certainly shows off not only the scale of the stadium, but also the sheer number of people involved in this project. In total, more than 3,500 people have worked on this project so far, and that on a daily basis, more than 1,200 people are on site.
And this is going to be a symbol of the Buffalo community and the Buffalo Bills all over the globe for decades to come.
One person I spoke to actually came out of retirement to be part of the construction crew. He called it a project of a lifetime to work on. Now, certainly a lot of developments here at the stadium today, a lot of celebrating, but there's also been a lot of developments and celebrating in the community too. I'm joined now by my colleague Kelly Dudzik with our team coverage. Kelly, you've been talking to some people here around the stadium.
Yeah, people who work around the stadium, Nate, and they've been watching the stadium go up piece by piece, and today's milestone means that we're just one step closer to Bills Mafia being able to celebrate the first game here at the new stadium. And while there's still an entire season to play before the first game is played at the new stadium, people who work in the neighborhood have enjoyed seeing customers react to all of the construction as the stadium takes shape.
They can't believe the progress that's been made, you know, and people that haven't been out in this area in a while, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this, you know, I can't, you know, you guys get to see this every day, you know, it's been months since we've been out here, and they just can't believe how quick everything's gone up.
They also said they're getting used to people stopping by, getting out of their cars, and taking pictures of the new stadium.
The Buffalo Bills are hoping to bring fans closer to the field, both in person and here at home. The team highlighting some brand new technology and providing the latest on construction.
It's been a month since the topping out ceremony when the last structural steel went up here at the new stadium. We're now in the belly of the beast, so to speak, with work already underway on the field, seats going in, over halfway through construction.
It's the first field level look inside the new Highmark Stadium in quite some time, and the feeling is imposing. The stands are rising up around you, the canopy closing in. There's a mounting point at the back of the end zone where a goalpost will soon be, hammering and grinding with construction workers scattered top to bottom, with the Bills announcing a new partnership with Verizon.
To make sure that we have enough connectivity for everybody.
We're getting a closer look at the progress on the new Bills Stadium as construction hits another major milestone in Orchard Park.
Well, here inside the stadium, one of the newest components to be put in is right behind me now. It is the grass field. Call it the green grass of home, the natural turf field, which we're told crews began installing on Tuesday and which they expect to finish today. About 2 acres of what they say is the finest Kentucky bluegrass, farmed in New Jersey and trucked up here and rolled out, and looky there, not a weed in it.
This starts to make it look and feel like the football field that we're hoping to see.
Interestingly, there are heating tubes beneath it, so when it snows, it should not collect on the field because it'll melt. Meanwhile, much of the seating in the lower tiers had been installed, with those in the upper deck still to go in. Our visit today was at 1 p.m., so we got a good idea how this place with its north-south configuration might actually look on a sunny October Sunday at kickoff starting next year.
But while the stadium project reached several milestones, another massive project, which construction was originally envisioned to begin in 2025, instead had to hit the brakes.
Opponents of the Kensington project are celebrating victory tonight. The Kensington Expressway project cannot proceed, not without further environmental review. That's what a judge ruled earlier today.
The judge in this case called it baffling that the state cut corners and ignored rules that other developers would have to adhere to. For Terry Robinson, Candace Moppins, Betty Jean Grant, Sherry Sherrill, and dozens of Humboldt Parkway residents and community groups, Friday was a victory. after Judge Emilio Koliakovo ruled that the State Department of Transportation failed to take a hard look at the environmental impact of the $1.5 billion Kensington Cap and Tunnel project, and the state must conduct a thorough environmental impact statement in order to move forward.
We are feeling absolutely elated and affirmed.
Judge Koliakovo hammered the DOT in his ruling, saying, quote, "No rational person can conclude that this project would not have an adverse impact on the affected community. To think otherwise simply overlooks the uncontroverted fact in the record before this court." Judge Koliakovo made the analogy that one cannot build a Tim Hortons in Western New York without performing an EIS. Why the state thought it could simply entertain a project of this magnitude and not comply with what it otherwise orders others to perform remains a mystery. As for what's next, those who fought the state DOT on this issue want to make sure the department sits down with them to discuss real alternatives and have a generational conversation about the way traffic flows in and out of the city. Now, a spokesperson for the state DOT tonight tells me that they have received the ruling and are evaluating next steps.
Well, Governor Hochul offered her first public comments today after the state DOT recently announced that it was going to do a restart of the controversial Kensington Tunnel project.
Scott, Governor Hochul had been in full support of this project, but now she says if it's ever going to occur, it's going to be years longer in the making and much more expensive.
You know, let's talk about that.
And when she did, the governor did not mask her disappointment.
And as often happens with projects across the state, but it feels too frequent here in Western New York, that, you know, people with a different opinion.
Hochul had not only supported the project, but also secured $1 billion in the state budget to help pay for the cost of covering just 3/4 of a mile of a below-grade section of the Kensington on Buffalo's east side. But the project had little public support and even more opposition from parties that ended up going to court.
The court said no because these advocates have asked for it, basically shut down the project.
More accurately, the judge ruled the state had failed to follow its own laws regarding environmental reviews and that the project could not go forward until it did.
We're going out to the community, we're re-engaging, seeing what could be some common ground.
Well, for the first time since the judge placed a permanent injunction on the Kensington Expressway project, state DOT officials are providing an update now about the status of the project.
The DOT is looking to find some common ground between those who want the $1 billion tunnel and those who want the expressway filled in. This meeting is unique because it's the first one the DOT has attended since a judge ruled that an environmental impact statement must be conducted if the state wants to move forward with the Kensington Expressway project.
We're re-engaging, seeing what could be some common ground.
The meeting was organized by the Restore Our Community Coalition. They support the $1 billion cap and tunnel. But the reason why the Kensington is not moving forward for now is because of a lawsuit brought forth by the East Side Parkways Coalition. They're advocating for the expressway to be filled in and Humboldt Parkway restored. And the two groups seem to be miles away from common ground.
The right project is the restoration of Humboldt Parkway from Agassiz Circle to Museum of Science.
What East Side Parkways has been proposing is not viable or feasible, and it's not really for the benefit or the welfare of our community.
Well, we have an update now on the Kensington Expressway project. The State Department of Transportation is officially resetting its approach and rolling out a new way for the community to weigh in.
The first session for the Kensington listening sessions is just wrapping up, and I think it's safe to say at least 200 people from the public showed up for this session. Let me step aside. Again, things are wrapping up right now, but the whole purpose of this session is for the DOT to engage with the public and hear a variety of new ideas about what to do with the Kensington Expressway. The DOT is resetting the project after a judge ruled there was not enough environmental study for the tunnel and cap plan that they proposed several years ago. So in order to move forward, a full environmental impact statement must be done. At the same time, federal data suggests road and bridge quality in the state is deteriorating. I asked the DOT commissioner about that this afternoon.
Absolutely, and I don't, you know, a lot of the, I'm not quite sure where you're getting your data.
It's federal. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Coming up, when disaster strikes, as our special look back at 2025's major Western New York news stories continues. Welcome back. Emergency responders and hospital workers constantly hone certain of their skills which they hope to never need. But the drills they undertake are the only way they can possibly prepare to respond to the unlikely and unanticipated occurrence of a mass casualty event such as that which interrupted a summer afternoon in August about 25 miles east of Buffalo.
Good afternoon. I'm Claudine Ewing here with a breaking news alert. At least 10 people have been taken to nearby hospitals after a major crash involving a bus on the New York State Thruway. This is new video from the scene along the 90 East between exits 49 and 48A in Pembroke. We want to go live right now to the scene where New York State Police are giving us an update. Here is Trooper James O'Callahan.
And at this time we have multiple fatalities, multiple entrapments, and multiple injuries. The bus did roll. There were multiple ejections.
We want to go live right now to our Alexandra Rios-Melvilla, who is live near the scene of the crash.
A tour bus came over this road. It was drifting to the medium and then rolled over all the way to the south here. More than 50 people were on board traveling from Niagara Falls back to New York City. Many of the passengers are from India, China, and the Philippines. Crews are working to get interpreters on the scene to help overcome language barriers.
At least 16 people have been taken to nearby hospitals after a major crash involving a bus on the Thruway.
Claudine, we're here on the Thruway. We're at the Erie and Genesee County lines where a tour bus rolled over. Officials confirmed that there are multiple fatalities. More than 50 people were on the board traveling from Niagara Falls back to New York City.
Right now, we are continuing to follow that breaking news out of Pembroke. At least 16 people have been rushed to hospitals after a bus crash on the Thruway near the Erie-Genesee County line. There are multiple fatalities. Two on your sides, Dave McKinley joins us now from ECMC to tell us the latest.
Claudine, we expect an update at the bottom of the hour. That would be 4:30 this afternoon from the folks here at ECMC. Throughout the afternoon, we have seen ambulances from a host of communities in Genesee County coming here. We should also note that some of the patients, the younger ones, of course, were taken to Buffalo Oshai Children's Hospital, and others were taken to another trauma hospital of note. That would be Strong Memorial in Rochester.
Okay, what I want to do is I want traffic shut down both lanes. Send me in 2 helicopters. We're going to land them in the median.
Police are calling this a mass casualty incident, and we have live team coverage. We want to get right to our Alexandra Rios-Melvilla. She joins us now from the scene with the very latest.
The bus driver survived, and troopers say that many passengers were not wearing seatbelts. And Buffalo Fire and several other agencies are assisting at the scene right now.
As we're progressing through this, we're losing more people, unfortunately. Like I said, if you're at the scene and you're seeing this bus, it's a full-size tour bus. Heavy amount of damage. It did roll, and obviously this bus was going full speed.
Dave McKinley is at ECMC right now. Dave, can you bring us an update of what you heard from doctors this evening?
Yes, just a short time ago, Claudine, we were informed that 24 patients were taken here to ECMC, the region's Level 1 Adult Trauma Center. 20 of those patients remain here. 2 of them are in surgery, although we are told by doctors that both of those most seriously hurt persons in their care are expected to make it. In addition, ECMC doctors actually went to the scene to help triage individuals there. We spoke with doctors a short time ago who told us what kinds of injuries they've seen.
So we have some folks that have some head injuries. We have some folks that have some extremity fractures. 2 patients from the operating room right now, one with internal injuries that are being managed and one with a severe extremity injury. And then we have several folks still getting evaluated of lesser complexity still in the emergency department.
Those 2 most serious, I mean, what are their prospects at this point that we know?
I would expect that they would recover.
4 of the patients were brought here by Mercy Flight. Additional patients were taken to Buffalo area hospitals operated by Kaleida. And of course, the youngest victims in this mass casualty event who needed medical treatment were taken to the Oshai Children's Hospital, where we understand that one of them is in critical condition. Now, they do, of course, as the region's Level 1 Adult Trauma Center, train for mass casualty incidents all the time, although the chief medical officer, Sam Cloud, told me a short time ago that in his 25 years here, they have never had one with this many patients.
Welcome back. Once again, a live look now after a bus crash on the I-90 eastbound between exit 49, 48A has shut down all lanes of traffic. That's according to New York State Police, but you can see it right there for yourself. New York State Police say there are multiple people, multiple casualties. In fact, they're calling this a mass casualty. We are working to learn if the people are still trapped, because that is what we heard from State Police a little earlier. Every person on board suffered some kind of injury, whether a bump or bruise or something much more severe.
Connect Life, the organization that helps donate blood to these Kaleida Health Hospital, they say they're putting out a call for blood, an emergency call for blood. So folks, if they need to donate, they should contact Connect Life so they can help hospitals like Kaleida, like Children's, treat not only patients from this crash, but patients inside of these hospitals as well.
This is still an active situation, and Two on Your Side has a team covering it from beginning to end, reporting from the scene of the crash and local hospitals.
Now, the response has been massive, with multiple agencies working together to help those injured. First responders are working to get everyone the care they need while keeping the area secure.
In the last hour, authorities have reopened the westbound I-90 lane. As you can see, traffic is moving pretty slowly, and the eastbound lane is still closed at this time.
We have our collision reconstruction team, forensic identification unit, and obviously depending on how long it takes us to get the entrapped individuals out of there, get a total tally, go over all the footage.
There is still a large emergency response.
We did speak with one man who lives on Route 5 behind where the accident happened. Mike Lewis describes the huge response that he saw when he approached the scene.
He got a notification, I think, on WGRZ that there was a major accident on the thruway, and it was near the mile marker that's directly behind our house. We could see troopers going by here left and right, and ambulances and what have you.
Lewis is a retired corrections officer and said it was one of the largest emergency responses that he has ever seen.
In the end, 5 people died in the crash. One passenger reported that the driver appeared to be reaching for a rolling water bottle when the bus careened one way, then the other, before it rolled. Several survivors of those killed have filed notices of claim, reserving their right to sue. The NTSB continues to investigate. That is our look back at some of the major local stories of the year 2025. As the new year begins, and in the words of the late Paul Harvey, stand by for news, and here's hoping that all your news is good news in 2026. I'm Dave McKinley. Thanks for watching.